This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in the last session, we talked about accounts payable related setting. We defined various account groups for vendor. We created business partner and we extended vendor role to a business partner. That is what we did in the previous session. Now let's try to create vendor master data the way it is created in a real environment in the real projects. Okay, so let's write vendor master data creation. Vendor master data creation. Now, before we understand vendor master data creation, let us try to check the actual screen of a vendor master. 1909. I am going to display mode of a vendor FK03. Now, if I go to FK03, which is display supplier or display vendor, you are able to see two headings here. One is general data, other one is company code data. Now, I'll go to another screen, which is XK03. If I go to XK03, I am able to find three headings here. One is general data, second one is company code data, third one is purchase organization data. Here let's write, there are three segments in vendor master. Okay, we will have three segments in vendor master. Those three will be, first one is general data, second one is company code data, third one is purchase organization data. Purchase organization data. This is what the three segments that we were talking about. General data, company code data, purchase organization data. Now, what is there in inside general data? What is there inside purchase organization data? What is there inside company code data is what you're able to see different checkboxes here. Under general data segment of a particular vendor, you will be updating address related information, control related information, payment transactions, contact persons information. Under company code data, you are going to create account information, payment transactions, correspondence, withholding tax. Under purchasing organization data, you will be creating purchasing data and partner functions. These are the three segments that will be there in your vendor master. Inside each segment, whatever we are going to maintain, that is you are able to see on XK03 transaction. I am not writing these things on the Excel sheet. I want you to list out these things on your own in your notebook or in your Excel sheet, whatever you are maintaining. Make sure you put these points and then you will remember these points. Because tomorrow you will be asked these questions, how many segments will be there in your vendor master? Make sure when you get this number of segments in the vendor master, you are not hesitating, you are not confused, you are speaking confidently. General data, company code data, purchase organization data. What do you maintain in general data? What do you maintain in company code data? What do you maintain in purchase organization data? Make sure you remember all these points and you are able to speak out confidently. Right? If you know and if you tell that you know accounts payable, you are not able to answer these kind of basic questions, will create a negative impact. Right? So the other person feels you are not clear about the vendor master data itself, then how do I think that you are good at accounts payable? So you need to make sure there are certain points for which there is no exception. This is one of those points. Now this general data is FI consultant role. Company code data is also FI consultant role. Purchase organization data is MM consultant role. When you're in any project, general data information is handled by FI consultant, company code data is handled by FI consultant, purchase organization data is handled by consultant. Now, in any implementation or rollout project, vendor master data is created by consultant. In any implementation or rollout project, vendor master data is created by consultant, which means for every organization, you have to understand one point, that most of the purchases in any organization are happened through purchase order only. If you are purchasing or if you are procuring something, majority of your purchase related transactions are happening based on purchase order. If you want to create a purchase order to a vendor, you must extend purchase organization data to a particular vendor master. Your vendor master must have purchase organization data. Only then creation of a purchase order is possible. Now, purchase organization data is the area of consultant, or is the responsibility of consultant. So for any vendor where purchase organization data is required, all such vendors are completely created by consultant. As a FICO consultant, you are not going to upload vendor master data if the vendor master belongs to purchasing segment or purchase organization data segment. Okay, as a FICO consultant, if you are creating vendor master in any of your implementation rollout project, those are only finance vendors. When we are talking about finance vendor, we are talking about only two views. We are not talking about third view. If your vendor master contains purchase organization data, that vendor master is the creation activity to be performed by the consultant, not by the FI. Okay, you might be asked these kind of questions. Who created your vendor master data? If you tell that I have created, then they might ask how your purchases are happening. If you tell purchases are normally happening, so they mean how the purchases are happening based on the purchase order or based on normal procurement. Majority of the purchases will happen through purchase order. For you to create a purchase order, purchase organization data is mandatory. This is the data which is to be extended, which is to be created for every vendor. Now, as a FICO consultant, we are not going to do this activity. Extension of purchase organization data to a particular vendor is not performed by FICO consultant. This is performed by consultant. In short, majority of your vendor masters are uploaded by consultant in any project. So one of the points you need to remember is, in your implementation project, rollout project, do not mention that you have uploaded vendor master. If you want to tell you uploaded vendor master, be very specific. You have uploaded finance vendors only, FI vendors only, which means vendor master of employees and then one-time vendor. Majorly one-time vendors and employee vendors is what we are going to create as finance vendors. Other vendors will be most likely the purchasing view with vendor. So any vendor with purchasing view is the responsibility of consultant. So whatever you create as a FICO consultant, we call it as FI vendor. Now consultant, whatever he creates, this is a logistics vendor. Logistics or PO vendor. Now any FI vendor is created by FI consultant, any logistics or PO vendor is created by consultant. Clear? It is not that you are going to create only two tabs, which means you are going to create a vendor with general data segment, company code data segment, and for the same vendor, logistics consultant or consultant will extend purchasing organization data. That is not the case. Either completely created by FI consultant or completely created by consultant, not that 50% is created by FI consultant, remaining 50% is created by EMM consultant is not the situation. Clear, right? Right. So as usual, the way you created GL account, cost center, profit center, in the similar way, in the similar approach, you will have to create vendor master in the initial system. When you are on the implementation rollout, you are going to receive the vendor master list by your business. You need to validate the vendor master list and upload all the vendor masters in the system using LSMW or LTMC. LSMW will be used in ECC projects. LTMC will be used in S4HANA projects. Now, since we are working on S4HANA 1909 now, let us work on LTMC first and then we will try with LSMW. Because wherever you have LTMC, LTMC is preferred over your LSMW. Now, before we create the vendor master record, first we need to understand what data is applicable to create a vendor and how the vendor master is created using the upload program. So to go to LTMC, you have a transaction code LTMC. Let's put LTMC. This is the LTMC screen. Here we need to create a project and then upload the master. Let us check if we have our project DEIN. So we have our project DEIN LTMC. Let's click on our project. Now in this project, whatever we have previously done, that we have completed, but we will be using the same project to upload the vendor master now. Here you need to find out in the filter by, try to search with vendor or by the supplier. So we are not sure on what name this is created or this is identified in the LTMC screen. First, as we know, let me try with vendor. Let me search with vendor. We are not able to find anything when we search with vendor, which means this is not identified by vendor. Next one, let us put with supplier. If you see the supplier, there is supplier information coming. You are able to find supplier. This is supplier contains a dependency migration object as bank. Because if you want to update vendor bank account information, the bank master must be created. So we will be creating later on bank master. Currently, let's see with supplier for the vendor master creation. We also have something called business partner or BP. Let us check if we have any particular upload program for BP. For BP, you don't find any upload program. Let me search with business partner. For business partner also, we do not find anything. Right? So what I am going to do, I am going to open this supplier. This is the supplier which is used for uploading vendor master data. Let us download this file. Select this supplier. OK on this pop-up. This will take a little time for the first time to access different backend database tables to display the data. But when you use it from second, third time onwards, it will be faster. Now, while that gets opened, so when you're creating vendor master, we need to make sure that vendor master data template will be prepared. Okay, vendor master data template will be prepared, and this will be shared with business for updating vendor details. So you're going to create a master data template for vendor, and you will share it with the business or your client. They will update it and then send it back to you. Same logic, same way, the way we've assumed for GL, profit center, cost center so far. In the similar approach, you are going to share vendor master data template. In short, any master data that you're talking about in any project, you are going to have the master data template. This master data template is given to the client. They will review the template, they will update the data, they will share it with you. You need to validate the data and then proceed to upload either using LSMW or using LTMC. Okay, it has come up. Now in this, first thing that we need to do is we need to download the template. Let's click on download. Allow. Enable editing. This is your this one. Click on save. I'm not downloaded. I'm going to save it on desktop supplier. Yes. Now I have saved this file on my desktop with en supplier. This is your XML format. Make sure XML format will be opened in the Excel sheet only. By double clicking on, if you are able to open, that is fine. If not, open the Excel, drag and drop this file from like this. Then you will be able to open XML format. Let's say on this sheet, you have the basic overview, introduction, and then field list. What are the fields that are available on this LTMC format for your vendor master creation is what applicable here. First one is your general data. In the general data, you have vendor, BP grouping, supplier group, all these things are available. But there are certain things mandatory, there are certain things not mandatory. So you have to remember the way we created vendor master manually. In the similar way, you will have to create vendor master automatically using LTMC tool or LTMC upload. Now to recollect what we have done, let me create one business partner manually. I'll go to BP so that it will be easy for us to understand how we are going to fill up this Excel sheet. Let me create organization. First, we are selecting BP grouping. So I am going to create local vendor ZV01. Title I'll give company 0003. Name I'll give Toshiba. Search term I'm giving street. I'll give Toshiba street. House number 30. Some postal code, city, country, region I'm giving. After that, we are giving communication language as English. That's it. This is what we are filling up here. Now region, it is not picking TG, it's wrong. Let me select 13. Okay, after giving this business partner information, we are directly proceeding to save. We are not filling up the other information as of now. We will understand other tabs based on the scenarios, based on the business requirements. Let me click on save first. What we did, we have given only business partner grouping, company name, which means company title, and then name and address. We proceeded to save. We got the BP master created. Once BP master is created, we are extending vendor role. When you're extending a vendor role, we assumed that there are two type of vendors. One is your FI vendor, the other one is logistics or PO vendor. FI vendor will contain a different role, logistics vendor will contain a different role. Now, let me put BP role for FI vendor, BP role for logistics vendor, or PO or vendor. People call it with different names, but everything is the similar. Now, role that we are going to create for vendor. Now, what we need to do, we have created a business partner. We want to convert, or we want to make this business partner as a vendor or as a supplier. To convert a business partner as a vendor or supplier, you need to extend business partner role to this vendor. Sorry, you need to extend vendor role or supplier role to this particular business partner. For that, click on change mode, because we are modifying the existing business partner. Go to change mode on this. From the change mode, if you open the drop down for the change in BP role, but before that you need to list out the role here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 zeros is BP general role. Okay, BP role for general. 1 2 3 4 5 6. There are 6 zeros for BP general role. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 zeros will be used for general role of a particular business partner, and for FI vendor, what will be the role, we are going to use it. Now your role starts from F. Go to F series. FLVN00 is your FI vendor. Okay, FLVN00 is for FI vendor. Let me put FLVN00 here. And for logistics, we are going to use FLVN01. FLVN01, this is another vendor. This is used for logistics vendor or PO vendor. Let's write FLVN01. Now these role codes also we have to remember. Role for business partner is 6 times 0. Role for BP vendor is FLVN00 in case of a finance vendor. Role for logistics vendor is FLVN01. Clear? Now our intention is to create a finance vendor, because logistics vendor we are not going to create. Logistics vendor is created by the consultant. Even in the project, this is how it will be handled. Let us select finance vendor role FLVN00. Here it is, FI vendor. And the moment you create finance vendor, there are additional tabs which are getting added related to vendor master. Now address is common. From your general role, from your basic role, all zeros, address will get auto copied from your vendor role. If you amend anything in the address here, this address will get updated in your business partner general role 000 also. From this, make sure you are able to view the vendor general data. In this, you are able to see the vendor account group, which is auto determined based on the BP account group. Vendor number range, which is externally determined based on the BP number, because we are using the same numbering concept for BP and vendor. According to that concept, whatever is your BP business partner code, the same code will become your vendor master code. This is what it is happening. After this, straight away click on company code. So far we have not given anything. Company code, input DEIN. After giving a company code, input reconciliation account. Open the drop down. We have created local vendor. Select accounts payable local vendor GL account. Next one, let us give only sort key 001. After giving reconciliation account sort key, I'm not writing any other thing because we are yet to configure the other functionalities of accounts payable. Straight away proceed to save. Now changes have been saved. You got the vendor number here. We got the vendor number here. Now the same vendor, let us try to create using LTMC. Whatever the input we have given manually, same input we will be giving through the Excel sheet, which is your LTMC upload format. Now let us go to LTMC format. Now this format, as it is, you are going to share it with your client or your business, and you will be asking them to fill it up. Sometimes what we will do, we will only extract the key fields from this and we will share with them, or you are going to copy paste data from XML to Excel sheet and then share it with the client. Once you get the data from client, you copy from Excel sheet, put it in XML sheet to make sure formatting and other related errors you are not facing. Now here you have key field. Whatever thing that you find as key is called as key field. If you go right, there is something called freeze. Only vendor account is freezed. If you see here, it is key. This is called as a key field. Always remember, key field is not supposed to be duplicated. Key field is always a unique number. This should not get duplicated. Now to create a vendor, the first role is your general. Under general, you need to put a vendor. What I'll put any number you can put here. I'll put V001 and then I'll put V002. Let me drag until some 5 vendors. 5 numbers I am giving. BP group. What is the BP group that you want to create? First group is what? For vendor general data. This is your 6 times zeros. Let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. Copy all this. Next one, supplier account group. It is telling this is not mandatory because there is no star mark here. Why supplier account group is not mandatory? Because when you give BP account group, your BP account group is automatically determine the supplier account group, correct? Based on your BP settings, you are going to determine supplier account group based on the BP account group automatically. That is why this is optional. This group is going to bring this group automatically. But are we supposed to give BP grouping for vendor or BP grouping for general? Now our intention is to create a supplier. When you are creating a supplier, you need to ensure you are giving supplier BP grouping, not general BP grouping, which means now I'll create one more vendor. I'll come back, BP. This time what I want to do is I want to create another vendor, but not in the same way that we created now. Currently what we did, we created business partner general role first. From BP general, we have extended BP supplier. Now this time I want to straight away create BP supplier. Let us verify if that is possible or not. BP. Let me click on organization once again. Now same thing, I am going to select local vendor, but I am not going to select this role. Straight away I will be selecting FLVN00, which is your finance vendor. Okay, now this is giving a pop-up. Do you want to create a business partner in BP role FI vendor, or do you want to save it first in BP role and then change it? It is telling, do you want to directly create vendor, or first you want to create BP role and then change it by extending supplier role to the business partner? We are telling, no, I want to directly create. Click on create. When you click on create, this is still sitting on FLVN00 role. Let us select category as company. Let me put Asus. Address, I'll put language is English. Next, address. Postal code. Just ignore the addresses. I'm just giving randomly whatever comes in the sequence. Okay, after filling up the address, what we did, we went inside the company code segment. Click on the company code segment on the top. Give your company code DEIN, reconciliation account, and then sort key. 001. We proceeded to save it. Let's do the same thing, save. Now by doing this, there are two things got created automatically. You got BP number, you also got the vendor number, correct? Now if I do the drop down, you are able to see this BP role is created automatically. Yes, no? If you are giving BP general role all zeros, then you will have to manually give vendor role FLVN00 separately. But if you give FLVN00 role separately, you don't need to give 000 again. By default, your vendor role is going to create BP general role. Is that what happened here?
Yes, sir.
Correct? Now, when we are uploading the template, which group should I give? BP general role group or BP supplier?
VP supplier.
BP supplier.
BP supplier.
LVN
FLVN00 is what we need to give. Now, why we need to give this one is because FLVN00 is going to give this group. But is this BP group or is this BP role? What is this?
VP group.
BP group. But what are we giving? Are we
BP role.
giving BP role we are giving. So we need to give BP group. Now let me go to create organization once again. Things will be a little tricky, confusing. We have to be a little more conscious. We have to be a little more conscious. We have to be a little more careful when you're doing these things in a project, especially. All these kind of confusions are quite common for everybody if you are working in any project, whether you are a fresher, experienced, or fully experienced. Quite common errors, confusions for everyone. So don't think that you are doing something wrong. This is quite common. You are doing right things. Let's click on create organization. We are trying to give this, which means we are not thinking in a proper way. Whenever you get confusion, whenever you get doubt, do not straight away proceed to create a vendor or any other thing from the upload program. If you are clear, if you have no confusion, well and good, you can proceed to do it. If yes, you are a little confused, always recommended create one master record manually. Create one record manually in your test system, maybe development or quality, so that you will get some confidence. Okay, this is how we are creating it. When you look at that sequence, when you're looking at that manual creation process, things will get registered on your mind once again. When you're uploading the file, you're able to validate, you're able to verify thoroughly, so that the chances of errors, chances of mistakes are very, very less. Right? So BP grouping is what we have created. ZV01, ZV02, 3, 4, 5. So what we will do, let us try to create 5 vendors, excluding one-time vendor. I'm not creating one-time vendor as of now. I'm skipping one-time vendor because we will discuss about one-time vendors separately. So one-time vendor is 4. I'm going to select ZV01 we have already used. We will be creating ZV02, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. ZV02, ZV03, ZV05, ZV06, ZV07. Correct? 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 is what we understood. And 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 is what we have taken here. Next one, Supplier account group, is this going to get determined automatically or we need to key in manually? Your BP grouping is going to supplement or is going to pass the supplier account group based on the BP configuration, in short the CVI configuration. Next one, name, name 2, name 3, name 4. So I'll put ZV02 vendor, ZV03 vendor, okay, 2 vendor, 3 vendor, 5, 6, 7 vendor, just to ensure that we are able to identify this is what is created through LTMC. Name 2, name 3, name 4, if you have big name, every field contains character limitation. Maybe it will accept only 20 digits or 25 digits, 15 digits. Accordingly, you need to ensure the remaining fields are given in the next column, continuation of the name. After name, let's
Sir,
go
is
to
this
title.
address?
Sorry.
This address, name 1, name 2.
Yeah, address, correct. When you create this, you have here name 1, column number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. This is salutation. 1, 2, 3, 4 fields, and you're able to find 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct?
Yes.
Next, you have title. Title is nothing but your salutation here. If you want to put Mr. and all whatever, you can put that here. Okay, title I'm not giving anything. Academic title, first name, last name, birth name, gender. I'm not giving everything. Let's try to give whatever the information which is mandatory. This is related to Brazil. Fine. There are no other things which are mandatory here. So I'll straight away come back. So we have given, no, something is mandatory here.
Good, sir.
So find star here. Okay, if you find star, let's check where you are finding star, because star is where you are going to find this one. It's not finding that way. Somewhere we had a mandatory tick one, because language was mandatory somewhere. Let's verify where is that mandate, that language. Country. If you are using this segment, this will become mandatory, but we're not using this.
The country is also a language and country is
Yeah,
having a star.
right. This is street address, from where this is starting. Yeah, this is starting from here. Street, house number and all. I'll say street str1, str2, str345, house number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, district, postal code I'll take 100, 100, 100, 200, 100, 300, 400, 500. Next one, city, I'll put city 1, city 2, 3, 4, 5. Next one, country, let's put everything as India. This is the address that we are keying in. State is nothing but the region that we have seen there. We put 13 there. Let's put 13. This is not mandatory. You can ignore also. So state is nothing but this one, region. We've given 13. Let's give 13 here. You have to ensure whatever the values that you are keying in here is a valid input. If you give incorrect records, if you give incorrect numbers, it will not create the record. Instead, it will give different error messages. Now state and all we have given. There is something that we have given as mandatory called language. So this language is mandatory, English. Okay, this is what is the mandatory information. Same thing is what we have given here. vendor name is given, vendor address, and then communication language. Same thing we have updated here. After this, let's go to the next one, BP role. In the BP role, you need to give vendor and then BP role. What roles you want to extend? Let's say this is clearly representing the role which you want to extend. But the key field here is your vendor. This vendor is there in the previous tab. Copy this vendor codes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put this in the BP role. Now for this vendor, what do you want to create? BP role. If you want to create finance vendor, you put this code there, FLVN00. But if you want to create this as logistics vendor also, you are going to put two roles. Same vendor you are going to add two times. Let's say like this, 0001. Then what system is going to create? This vendor will be created as finance vendor plus logistics vendor. Now is there any additional work here except adding the second role? Do you find any additional task?
No, sir.
Alright, it's just you need to put finance vendor role, logistics vendor role also, because without finance vendor role you cannot create logistics vendor. Without FLVN00 you cannot create FLVN01 role. So for a logistics consultant to extend this as a vendor, they must first extend this as a finance vendor. That is why they will be creating this activity. So I am removing this now. Save it. So this is about role which is to be extended for a particular business partner. Next one, additional address. Now this additional address is what coming from your initial screen. Whatever you have given in the general data, that is automatically supplied here. If you want to add any additional thing, you can put here. Currently, let us leave this blank. General text and then company code data. In company code data, you need to ensure in which company codes you want to create or extend this vendor. Let's go to general data, copy the vendor numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put them here, and then company code. We want to create this vendor in DEIN, put this DEIN, paste it here. Along with company code, you need to give reconciliation GL account. Payment method, correspondence. Let's check where do we have the reconciliation. Here it is, reconciliation and then sort key. Sort key we were using 001. Reconciliation GL account. Let us ensure the reconciliation GL accounts are correctly given. FS00, DEIN, accounts payable is here, and 241 all zeros 1. Let me put display. Here this will be 241 all zeros 1. Next one, third party all zeros 2. After third party, what we have created? Employee is 3. I'm not going ahead with the logic. What is our account group and all? I'm just giving one account number. That's it. 4, 5. I'll take 4 and then 5. Clear? Don't try to connect this with. In that way, I'm not writing the reconciliation account. I'm just giving one reconciliation account. When we understand this, when we are actually uploading this properly, we need to take actual vendor information, write reconciliation account, complete field mapping has to be thoroughly verified. Only then we need to upload. Only these two information we have given. After that, we saved directly. Any other information if you have, we just need to fill up that information and proceed to save. Now other informations are as of now not needed. This information is sufficient. Let me save it. Whatever we used for BP creation manually, Same information we filled up in the LTMC template. Now let us try to load this template. Not this one.
The number range, that vendor code, we will create number ranges, right?
Correct.
In number ranges, that number range will give or normally any number range. That code.
Number range you're not giving, no? You mean to say on the 1 minute. This is what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
This is not the system generated number. This is our own number. System is not going to consider this number. When you are uploading this, it is going to take the number based on the group that you are giving here. From this group, it will
Okay,
allot
sir.
a number. System to identify this record in all the sheets, you need to give a manual numbering system here. This is just a key field.
Okay. Understood.
Okay, yeah. Now in this, let's click on upload file. Click on browse, supplier. I'll put BP, any one name, upload. Now select this, click on activate. Next one, start transfer. Okay. So we need to wait until it gets 100% completed. First time this is going to take a little time. This is quite common everywhere because it is trying to access different database tables from the backend. Once you open this, next time it will be able to access quicker and then your LTMC will work faster. But first time, no other go, you have to wait a little more time. Hundred percent completed. This close option will get enabled. At that time, you need to click on it. Now click on close. Now you need to ensure if you have got any errors or any warnings here. This is just an information. Any information or any warning, we will be ignoring it. You are going to consider only if there is an error message. If this is an information, click on next. Go to the next screen. Now you are getting field mapping confirmation. Don't do it one by one. Come here, click on this left side of this status, which will select all the records. And then click on confirm mapping values. So two things are not getting uploaded. So just click on this manually. Open this customizing from this drop down. So which one should we put here? No integration or integration with external system. This is asking about use supplier ID for integration with external system. Let us not put any integration, no integration, save. Next one, vendor internal or external numbering. Open this internal numbering. We are going to use internal numbering. Save this. Now all tasks are processed. Go to the next step. This is processing. Let's wait until it gets completed 100%. Click on close. Here also you have information. Any information we will be ignoring it. Click on close. Now information only, there is no error message. Click on finish. Now with this, what happened? Your vendor migration or your vendor master records have been created. Let us verify whether the vendor master that we have uploaded is created properly or not. For that, what we need to do, we need to check the vendor master. Whenever you want to verify vendor master, it is always recommended you verify from the table, not from the transactions. Now to verify the table, SE16N is the T code. Put SE16N, you will get this. What is the table for vendor master?
LFA1, LFB1.
LFA1, LFB1. Now first let us verify in the company code LFB1. If you go to LFB1, LFB1 is talking about vendor master in company code. In this, pass your company code, which is your DEIN, click on execute. And if you want to know when it is created, we can also put filters. Now vendor numbers system is giving this 201, 301, 590, 690. Okay, but when you are creating, what numbers we have given in the upload file, we have given something called V001002. Correct? While creating, we have given V00012345. Is this number used anywhere or it's a different number? It's a different number. This is based on our BP grouping. This is based on our vendor account grouping numbering system. In the Excel sheet LTMC upload, whatever you have given is only a key field to identify the same record in multiple sheets. Now from this, we are unable to see what is the GL account, what is the name of this vendor. Name of the vendor is always extracted from the vendor general data segment, not from the company code data segment. We assumed that in every vendor master you have three segments, right? General data, now company code data. This is your LFB1 table. This will be LFA1 table. Clear? LFB1 is the table to store vendor company code information. LFA1 is the table to store vendor general information. Now what I am going to do, I'll copy all the vendors. All the vendor numbers I am copying. Control C. Go back. I'll open LFA1 table. In the LFA1 table, in the vendor column, open this multiple selection icon. Click on this multiple selection icon. You get a pop-up. We copied there. We did Control C already. To do Control V, you need to click on this icon, upload from clipboard. You click this, automatically whatever Control C you did will get copied. Execute and then run this table output. Click on online execute. You get the information like this, and this is the what we have created. ZV02345, correct? Is this right? This is what we have created in the Excel sheet.
Yes.
ZV02345667. Now 23567. This is what we have created. System has created your vendor master using LTMC properly. Now here you will be able to see the date on which it is created, user who created this, and account group of your vendor. If you want to know vendor account group, it is always extracted from LFA1 table. Tomorrow, if I want to know how many local vendors I have, how many foreign vendors I have, I'll be extracting that report from this table. First, I'll go to LFA1. I will pass this account group and then I'll click on execute. It is going to display only the vendors which are created with local group category or foreign vendor, one-time vendor, employee vendor, and so on. Clear how we created this LTMC for vendor master? Any confusion, doubt? Nothing is going to get changed. Whatever the approach you have used for GL, profit center, cost center, same thing. There is nothing that you are going to learn here again except the file filling up. You must know how to fill up the file, what information is needed to create a vendor. Accordingly, you need to understand the fields in that particular format, fill it up. Because conceptually, logically, nothing is going to get changed. If you are changing the master record, you fill up the master record file according to the master. If you're talking about vendor, first you have to know what information is mandatory to create a basic vendor. Don't think that you need to put every information and then create the vendor master. Never do that. First, try to understand uploading the vendor master. First, be in a position to create a vendor. Later on, you add all the additional parameters to it. Okay. Now, I want everybody to create multiple vendors using LTMC. At the same time, I want you to experiment on this BP vendor creation through LSMW. Okay, I want you to do this LTMC. At the same time, I want you to do this one, LSMW for BP, to verify whether you are able to create it through LSMW or not. Vendor general data table, vendor company code data table. Next one is your business partner table. Any idea what is BP table? Anyone? So let's put BUT 000 or 4 times 0. Okay, BUT 000 is your business partner related table, business partner general data. And these tables you have to remember, business partner general data table. Clear? These tables is what you have to remember as of now, and these rules also you have to remember. These are mandatory points to be remembered before we actually start transaction posting in your vendor accounts or accounts payable. Clear what we did? This is another point you'll have to remember. This is another point you need to remember. That's it. This is what we've done, we've covered so far. Any questions on this? Clear, right? What you need to do, what you need to practice. LTMC you need to practice with multiple vendors, and then you need to check the possibility of LSMW for business partner vendor creation. Go to LSMW, try to do a recording for BPT code, check what is happening, whether you're able to create it through BP or not. Okay, so once you practice this today, tomorrow we are going to talk about the corrections in the vendor master. Let's say we uploaded around 500 or 1000 vendors, but for some vendors, some information is gone wrong. You created vendor masters, 500 vendors are created, but out of 500, let's say for 300 vendors, some information is given wrong. Either reconciliation account is given wrong, sort key is given wrong, address is given wrong, postal code is wrong, or some of the fields are given wrong. That could have happened because of any reason. Copy paste issue had happened, formula issue had happened, something technical issue had happened in your Excel sheet working. So field misplaced had happened. Now you need to rectify all those things for the respective field. Now how are we going to change it? To change this, are we going to use LTMC or are we going to use LSMW? What are we going to use to change the vendor master? LTMC or LSMW? How are we going to change if there are any issues, any errors? Are we going to use LSMW or LTMC? Anyone? You will be using
LSMW.
LSMW for any corrections once the master is created. For master creation only, we will be using LTMC. Once master is created, as usual, you will be changing them through LTMC or mass transaction. Either MASS mass transaction code or LSMW. Now, if you want to change which T code are you going to use and all will come into the picture in your interviews, because these are all the points that are to be discussed in your interviews if you are attending with any implementation experience. They'll tell, let's say vendor master is created, you found out there are certain errors, how you are going to fix them. Then you have to be clear, confident enough to answer all the queries, all the cross questions that you are getting. It's not fine, it's not enough if you know how to create this, but you should also know the troubleshooting of it. If there are any problems, if there are any issues, how you are going to fix those problems or issues. That is most important, because nothing is straightforward. When you are working in a project, you are going to receive different errors, you are going to face different issues. How your issues are rectified, errors are solved is what you have to explain. This is what they want from you in any interview. They don't want whatever you are telling straightforward. Where you struggled, what issues you faced, what challenges you faced, and how did you come across, and how did you resolve those issues. Why the issue had happened, what you did to resolve it is what they morely focus on your interview. For that, no other option. We have to do things in a different way. Clear it? All right, let me stop this recording.